Tony Robbins Platinum, Joe Dispenza, Landmark Forum, Ayahuasca in Peru, numerous coaches, Authentic Connection Games, Teal Swan, Donnie Epstein, Vipassana, Kyle Cease, plenty more. I've invested over $250,000 in my own personal growth as an entrepreneur and leader, and there's a specific reason for that. In this video, I'm going to go over what I believe to be the most important and 3 findings that really, when I looked at everything and I looked at my own growth and the actual sustainable impact on me, I thought to myself, I want to share that with you so that you can save yourself 10 years. You can save yourself investing a lot so that you know actually what works. Now, of course, I think everyone goes on their own particular journey. And for me, especially, why did I invest this? And how did I invest this? Well, I initially invested in some mentors and coaches for my business. And then as I started to make some money, I reinvested that. I took about 20% of what I was making and I reinvested that into my business. But I made a massive impact, an investment on personal growth because of the pain that I was going through at the time. So I want to describe what emotions I was going through that were really causing me to really feel a sense of, I feel like something's missing. Like I just need to carry on working on myself. Like I don't like being this person. I don't like being this type of entrepreneur. And those things were very strong anger, so rage, addictions, my addiction pattern being alcohol, drugs, gambling, porn, in that sequence and cycle. I used to be a personal trainer, also DJ. I don't do that now, long time gone. I used to drink. My last drink was in 2017. Lots of jealousy, I would say, especially with partners. Just if that partner was going to the gym, looking a certain way, I would just freak out. And this was down to my insecurities, right? From my bullying in my childhood. These things I started to learn later as I started to do this work on myself. Very, very important, deep work. Not being calm, confident. I talk about this difference between this external confidence of how we present ourselves. For example, I had the fancy cars, the Ferrari, the big house, all of that, but it was a seeking of validation. So now with the intrinsic confidence, being okay with myself, like knowing myself, like being confident truly with myself as a person. And what I've learned over the years going and doing a lot of personal development, especially when I had this kind of big spiritual awakening in 2019, was that there's a turning point of doing the work, doing the deep work, and then reaching a point where you feel at home with yourself, but you're still working on yourself that you want to improve, versus this yearning, this deep longing inside to get to a place where you are content with yourself. And I do want to let you know that there is that turning point if you do the work. And there's 2 particular things within this list that can be very cost effective. You don't need to invest a lot, that I just really learned. And that's really the intention of doing this video, because after investing a lot, I sat down with myself, and this was my concern. My concern was, what if people don't have 10 years and that amount of money to invest in themselves and they are in pain? I want to help people. I want to help people transform. And so, I want to go through, each of these. So, by the way, there's plenty more on this list. But these are the things I want to touch on in this video. Tony Robbins Platinum. So I had invested in, I'd gone to UPW, first of all, and then I invested in his mastermind. It was $65,000 at the time, plus trip costs. So really the investment for a year was over $100,000. I did 2 years because Tony does this 2-year rotation if you're in the Platinum group with the spiritual events and also the relationship events at the time. This was 2015. So my biggest shift came in India. And this was when essentially what Tony does is he says, okay, you're all here because you want to make more money, but business is a spiritual game and it's also an emotional game. And at the time I was going through a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. I was, again, drinking a lot. And I I didn't feel at home with myself. So during that trip, what Tony introduced me to was more immersive meditation and one other thing which I'll talk about. So with the immersive meditation, he kind of forces you to go deeper. And also we went to these temples and did this other stuff. And it was then it really started to click the importance of emotional intelligence as an entrepreneur. And so by doing those longer meditations, because what I was doing is I was doing meditation infrequently in reaction to when I was stressed out, right? So stressed out, meditate. You're doing it in reaction to enter a different state. Where really this new concept came to me through that work, which was essentially you're meditating so that you reach a level of consciousness whereby that's not your default, that's not your go-to, because you're always in that place of reaction and needing to meditate in that way. But if you start meditating in the morning and then you go deeper and deeper and you're going beyond that 5 or 10 minute mark, and now you're going into the 20 minutes and the 30 minutes and the 40 minutes, you're really going into the well, you're really digging deeper, and you're starting to really, get insights from yourself and clarity that you don't get in those earlier meditation stages. But also there was teachings and there was other parts of that, and there was, a thing around a dog, and now I have Buddha because of what he said to a gentleman at that event around depression that he was going through and getting a dog, and so I got my dog from Tony, and that was cool. So I would definitely say that the Tony Robbins investment, I don't regret any part of that because I met great people. It's just a great immersive experience. I went to Fiji and did his life and wealth mastery and the other events, and the relationship event in Hawaii. And I just think Tony's way of teaching with me just really resonates. And what I like about Tony's work is that he opens up the door to other things, namely, for example, the work with Donny Epstein. So I was in the cafe and I was saying to another participant, I've got this problem with my back. And then one of them said, go and speak to Donny. And I was like, who's Donny? And so I went to see this guy called Donny Epstein, and he basically looked at me, kind of bent me over in a position and was like, do this. And then my back didn't hurt anymore. And I was like, wow, this guy's a wizard. Got invited into this back room. Actually, it was Donny's hotel room. And he was working with people on a table doing this energetic work, and they were moving, and they were kind of like moving around like fish on a massage table. And he had this kind of wand, and it was just like, what is this? And I got on the table and I went through this like energy healing, and that was really the moment where I was like, there's so much that I don't know, and there's so much that I need to learn about this type of work, this energy work, like releasing things. And people will go on this table and just like come out just a completely different state, like the nervous system, everything would just shift, and it was just profound. So Tony Robbins. The next one I've got on here, which is Joe Dizpenza. I love Joe's work. One of the things he said years ago was, I stopped doing keynotes talking about meditation. I just wanted to get people meditating. And I totally buy into that. And so Joe's teachings and events, his advanced retreats are really good, especially if you want to go deeper into the meditation stuff. So that's cool. Landmark Forum. This is relatively a lower cost, so like in the $500 range, but you go for 3 days, and that's really about calling you out around your thinking and learning different things about how you think, and then, starting to have difficult conversations and actually really take action. It's really kind of holds you accountable to those things. And in terms of like family dynamics and things like that, that is actually a really good program. It's pretty intense. A lot of people say it's pretty cultish, but in terms of impact, I know a lot of people I've spoken to, Landmark Forum, great. I would definitely recommend that. Peru, ayahuasca. So this I first did, I think it was around 2015, 16. I got into the jungle and I went for 4 days. I got called to do it. I watched a YouTube video, and then they say that the plant kind of calls you, and it did. And for me at the time, going into Peru, I had, this addiction pattern. And when I came out of the jungle having done it, it just kind of took the edge off of the need to drink. Like I was still drinking, but I didn't need to binge. And that was a big thing for me as an entrepreneur, which is I would just go out and then I would start drinking. And even just in my earlier days, I would just go on these benders and get smashed and do stupid stuff and regret it. And for me, that ayahuasca, just a massive wake up spiritually. Now, I will say this. I have done it other times in different settings, and it's so important that you get the right shaman. And you do, like, you want to be really precautionary around that medicine. Because of my drug addiction, I did have some reservations around doing that because I saw it as a drug, and I needed to see it as a medicine. There's a great documentary called Stepping Into the Fire. It was one of the first documentaries that I watched on it. There's more now. Places like Rhythmia is a well-known place that people go to in Costa Rica. I know, but I would definitely say, like, if you're watching this and it's like ayahuasca has been on the radar for you, this may be another sign. I know sometimes we need to hear certain things multiple times. Sorry about the light, by the way. I'll try and be forward a little bit more. The next one is just coaches. I think it's really important to be able to talk and to be guided through different things. And so NLP, you know, whether that's life coaching, other stuff like that. I've never actually done therapy, but I truly believe, I mean, I'm one myself. I coach, I guide people. So coaching, mentorship. If you find someone that resonates with you, what's very important is that you can be honest. If you can be honest and you resonate with the person and you have a good relationship with them, but there's also the challenge of them being willing to challenge you, where if you make an investment with them, you know, they challenge you to a level where they ignore the investment. Like, they're not afraid to say things to you because they feel that they will lose you as a client or you'll ask for a refund, something like that. That's so important, because if you don't have that, then you won't show up to the calls and actually respect them and do the work. Because ultimately, the goal of a coach is to listen to you, you know, hear what you say, reframe things for you, give you accountability, and get you to take actions on the things that you haven't been to create the breakthrough and the transformation for you. Very, very key. The next one, so this is actually can be free or low cost, but massive impact, which is authentic connection games. So I wrote a book called The Black Ball, Does Anybody Else Have a Secret?, which talked about the shame that I had growing up and releasing that. I would say out of all of the work that I've done, me personally on myself, and then the work that I've done to transform people, it's the black ball work that creates the biggest impact. It's about getting things out, like to a deeper level. So it's not essentially in you, part of you. Like, it's still kind of part of you, but you're releasing it, you're talking about it. So it's not bottled up. And there's a great book by David Hawkins called Letting Go, which talks about what happens when you bottle those things up. So I would say tracking down, looking for local groups. Sometimes it's called circling, other stuff. But essentially, it's authentic connecting, whereby you're in a place, a safe environment, and you're talking about what's real and true, not surface level stuff. And the more that you do that, the more that you connect with yourself, and with connection being the top thing that an entrepreneur needs. When we don't have that, and we've got stuff from the past that we've not dealt with, it becomes really problematic in the day-to-day of a business, because you start snapping at people, your decisions are off, you're not actually performing at the top level. And that's what I love to talk about, which is this level of super high performance, which is you being more of a conscious leader. The Vipassana, I would definitely say this is essentially free, but via donation. 10 days of meditation for 10 hours a day. But the problem is that most entrepreneurs are either not meditating, or they are doing it infrequently in reaction. And so most are not at the point where they're just going to go and do a 10-day meditation retreat. They don't see the benefits. Most entrepreneurs don't see the link between that and their business and productivity and making money. And so they won't do it. And so they need to be, essentially, you move into that at a later stage. That was my journey, at least. I didn't do Vipassana until I think 2018, 2019. And so this $250,000 investment was essentially over a 10-year period. I would say mainly it started in the 2013, 14 kind of time frame, with that big Tony Robbins investment, which started for 2 years in 2014 or 15. So here are the 3 takeaways that I want you to get from this investment. And I really hope that it supports you on your journey. When I looked at everything that I did, and there's, obviously, who I am now, where I'm not drinking, I don't have these addictions, I'm more calm, confident, I'm really not jealous, like I do know myself, and I'm just a different type of entrepreneur. I'm more of a conscious entrepreneur. I sell differently, like level of integrity differently, like how I handle situations is different, right? So there's making money, and then there's that, and really, I think if you want to be more happy and fulfilled, you need to have both. Here are the 3 things which I think are the big takeaways from that investment. Number 1, which is the safe space to express yourself. So many people they've got stuff bottled up. As I said earlier, you need, whether that's a coach, whether that's a group, you need to be able to talk about what's present for you now, but also the things that you've been through, so that you can start to unravel those and understand yourself. Like a big part of personal growth is about raising your level of self-awareness and raising your level of consciousness. And really, it's difficult to do that if you've got so much stuff bottled up. You need to be able to be in your truth and be honest. And entrepreneurs really struggle with that. They struggle to be just transparent and honest and true. And true transformation happens from being in your truth. And that's really when you start to heal yourself, which is just owning yourself. David Daida, actually, I should have put that on this list. David Daida's work, masculine, feminine work, very, very good. But one of the things he talks about in Way to Superior Man is, the importance of, for example, if you're going through an addiction, not hiding it, but just owning it. Like, hey, I'm going through this, I've got this, but I'm working on it. And that's power versus hiding away. And so many, I think, people, they struggle just to be honest because they have so much shame or embarrassment or guilt around what's happened in the past, and they don't want to own that thing now in the present, and that causes real problems. So the safe space to express, whether that's connection games, whether that's you with a coach, very, very key, and actually having conversations, and that's really difficult to do in some formats because you need that personal touch. The second one is meditation consistency in getting to your hour. It's progressive, right? So when I was at the kind of reactionary stage with the apps and doing the 10-15 minutes, like I was feeling better, but I wasn't really healing. And so the deeper that you go into the meditations, and also what entrepreneurs need to realize is that, doing a meditation with a mantra from, say, I forget the name of it. This happens in my videos. Like I say something off, and I was like, the last one's about communications. Funny. I'm gonna either remember it or I'll put it in the comments. Transcendental. This is funny. I'll just keep it in. Anyway, my point I wanted to make was diversification of meditation is so important for a leader to learn. For example, meditation for focus. It's intentional, getting you into state to focus. Meditation for healing. It's the words in the meditation that can get you to heal. Right? Meditation for understanding your zone of genius. Meditation for, more for productivity or lighting up an idea or getting you to take action. So if we're in the belief that it's just one meditation, one thing, no. And that's actually why I started to record meditations for entrepreneurs, because I was like, hey, it's not just this one thing. Like, you can actually really grow a business by lighting up ideas, by healing, and it can be a much more diverse transformational outcome in terms of business and personal development if you're not just doing the same type of thing every day. If you just listen to an app and you've got that same thing going on and on and on. No, actually meditation is getting you into a state, and then in that state dropping in certain words, and it's what you say and how the person receives you as a meditation teacher. So I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's kind of like this, it's very, for some it's off-putting because it's like this namaste, this woo-woo kind of stuff. But if you actually really understand it, it's actually about productivity. It's actually about action. All right. So meditation, consistency, and phasing. And then the other one is accountability, which is, guiding you through the things that are difficult that you want to avoid, because a lot of entrepreneurs, leaders, they don't want to do the emotional intelligence work because they don't see that as a link. They're happy to carry on being angry. They're happy to carry on drinking. And it's just like, it's not important until things start to fall away, whether that's a relationship, whether that's just, just you, just feeling disconnected with yourself so much that you're like, you got to change. And then you start to do the work. You reach a stage of understanding, and you reach a stage of, whether that's through a teacher or, whatever the path, you start to actually value the importance of this type of work. Now, I'd mentioned that I was really concerned with the fact that, I'd invested all of this stuff, but what if people didn't have that money or that time? And so when I looked at everything, I was like, I want to get entrepreneurs to their hour. I want to teach them all of the stuff that worked for me and also with my clients over the years, and put it into a every single day accountability process. So if you check out a link in the description, you'll see a link to the Super High Performance group, and there's 3 quests in there. The first one is around clarity. It's questions. There's a meditation, and then there's a series of questions. The next one is called All Fired Up, and it's every single day meditations for 7 days. And leadership actions, getting you to change your habits so that you can shift your identity and start to heal and be calmer and happier. And then the third one is the Super High Performance Formula. Go watch the videos on the page from the results from these entrepreneurs that have grown their businesses without any strategic work, by simply building their intrinsic confidence, by meditating consistently, by doing this work. Very, very important. Let me know in the comments what personal development you've done, what you found potent, what you found not just enjoyable, but actually had an impact, right? So when I look at what I've done, I can say, like, I've not drunk for, since 2017. Like, I am calm. I do feel confident in myself. I do know myself, So if you're going to post the comments in there, like, post the actual impact that the thing has had, because I think it'll be a good resource for people to know what have they done in personal development and how can it support them. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully it saves you some time and some money. And maybe it's just a reminder of something that you thought you should do, but now you've seen it maybe a second or third time, and now you're like, I need to actually go all in on this. And for me, when I looked at everything really in a nutshell of this video, I just want to say, for me, it's the meditation, because that just it opens up so many things. When you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you feel calmer, you feel more relaxed, but you get to know yourself at a deeper level. And that is so important for a conscious entrepreneur. I will see you in another video. Take it easy.